In a quiet, sunlit town tucked gently between rolling green hills and winding country roads, there lived a man named Jack Turner. The town was small and peaceful, the kind of place where everyone knew each other by name, where mornings smelled of fresh bread and evenings echoed softly with distant church bells. Life moved slowly there, almost gently, as if time itself had learned patience. Yet among all the townspeople, one man always stood out: Jack Turner. Jack was known as the strongest wrestler the town had ever seen. His build was powerful, his posture commanding, and his presence alone could silence the loudest corner of the busy market. When Jack walked through the streets, conversations lowered and eyes followed, not out of fear, but out of respect. People admired him for his strength, his discipline, and the calm confidence he carried within himself. He owned a small shop that sold dried fruits, and to Jack, this shop was more than just a way to earn money, it was his pride. Inside, the air was always filled with the warm scent of roasted almonds, cinnamon, and honeyed dates. Morning sunlight poured through the window, reflecting off glass jars lined neatly on wooden shelves, making them sparkle like tiny treasures. Customers loved visiting his shop, not only for the quality of his goods, but for the man behind the counter. From the outside, Jack's life appeared simple and steady. Strong body, respected name, honest work. But deep inside him, Jack carried a hidden struggle, a quick and dangerous temper. Any insult, any unfair word, any sign of disrespect could spark a fire in his chest. He felt anger rise like a storm, fast and powerful. Though he was honorable and proud, anger was the one opponent he had never fully defeated. One early afternoon, as the town rested under soft sunlight and the church bells rang faintly in the distance, a thin and nervous man stepped into Jack's shop. His clothes were worn, his shoulders slightly bent, and his hands trembled as he reached for a jar of pistachios. In a quiet but firm voice, he asked for the price. Jack told him. The man hesitated and then began to argue, claiming the price was too high. Words sharpened, voices rose, and tension filled the small shop. In the heat of the argument, the man accidentally knocked over a glass cup resting on the counter. It fell and struck the edge of Jack's head. The sound echoed sharply. Pain shot through Jack, and blood slowly trickled down his temple. The crowd outside gasped. The man froze in terror, his face pale, his body shaking. Jack's fists clenched, his muscles tightened, and anger surged through him like a volcano ready to explode. Everyone expected violence. Everyone thought Jack would strike back. But in that very moment, something unexpected happened. Amid the rage and pain, Jack heard a quiet voice inside his heart asking him a simple question. Is this a test? Will you forgive, or will you let anger rule you? Jack hesitated. He looked into the man's eyes and saw not disrespect, but fear, deep fear mixed with desperation. The man's voice trembled as he spoke again. He apologized again and again. He explained that his wife and child were sick, that he needed money for their treatment. He spoke of wrestling matches he had lost, of hopes that had failed, and of desperation that had driven him to argue. He wasn't a bad man, just a broken one trying to survive. Jack felt his anger slowly loosen its grip. His breathing slowed, his fists unclenched. In a calm and deliberate motion, he stepped back, wiped the blood from his forehead, and spoke softly. He told the man to go. He told him he was forgiven. Time seemed to pause. The man fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, thanking Jack with a broken voice. The crowd stood silent, witnessing something greater than strength: mercy. Days later, Jack returned to the wrestling ring. The crowd roared louder than ever, but inside, Jack felt different. He felt lighter, more peaceful. During the match, he noticed small details he had never cared about before: the sound of his heartbeat, the nervous eyes of his opponent, the sunlight reflecting on the mat. He remembered the thin man from his shop and the relief on his face when he was forgiven. In that moment, Jack understood that the match was not about winning, it was about kindness. He stepped aside and allowed his opponent to win the prize money. Later, Jack learned that the money went toward medical treatment for the man's wife and child. A single act of mercy had saved a family. Word of Jack's actions spread quickly across the town and beyond. People no longer spoke only of his strength, but of his wisdom and compassion. Opportunities came his way, responsibilities followed, and people began to trust him deeply. In time, the townspeople chose Jack to lead them. He became their king, not through force, wealth, or fear, but through the power of his heart. Under Jack's guidance, the town flourished. People felt safe, respected, and inspired. As the sun set behind the hills one evening, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, King Jack stood outside his old shop, breathing in the familiar scent of roasted nuts and warm bread. He smiled softly, feeling a peace he had never known before. He finally understood that true strength is not in dominating others, but in controlling oneself. True honor lies in mercy, not revenge. And sometimes, one small act of kindness can change not just a life, but an entire kingdom.